All right, welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe, TV47. My name is Freddy Ndimuli. We're coming to you from a very picturesque place, deep inside the Aberdares National Park at the Treetops Lodge. Believe you me, you may not believe it, but behind me, the majestic Mount Kenya is there. Once the sun comes out, you'll get to see. This is the Mlima they talk about. You know, alisema governor. Tusiguze hii mlima.
Usiguze ule mlima.
All right, I'm here with Governor Kahiga of Nyeri County, and we continue looking at devolution 14 years on. Just before the break, you're talking about some of the challenges you're facing, and what you mentioned, one of them was the UHC rollout. And you had a meeting with the president earlier this week.
Yes.
In anticipation of that rollout. There's been a lot of criticism about how this rollout has been handled, yet health is a function of devolution. Governors and county governments should not be at the forefront in determining and discussing this whole thing. Do you think that was done the right way? Now we're shifting at the end of this month to the new system of health management, SHIF. It's there on the front pages, and they talk about, I think, the problem with SHIF, or the front page of the Daily Nation, meaning the country, the whole nation is discussing some of the challenges facing health. If we could focus on the UHC, which is the biggest function that the counties are handling. What do you think is the biggest problem, and where did we get it wrong?
Maybe we need to walk back and see that there have been quite a number of attempts to implement UHC. If you walk back during the Kibaki time, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o tried it. It didn't work. Where Charity Ngilu also was involved, it didn't work. We came to Uhuru Kenyatta's time. Remember, Nyeri was one of the pilot counties. They did it in 4 counties, Machakos, Isiolo, and Kisumu. We struggled with it, but we couldn't make it. Why now? We must understand that Kenya has, for one reason, I do not know why, has focused too much on curative as opposed to preventive. And curative is usually very, very expensive and fatal. But this time we seem to be almost getting it right, because we are focused more on preventive. And how do we do that? Right now, the other day you saw a rollout of about 100,000, we can call them CHPs, the community health promoters. They were essentially with us initially. We called them we didn't call them CHPs, we called CHVs. They were volunteers, but we would give them some airtime or something. Now this time we are working together with the national government to give them 5,000 Kenyan shillings a month, but they'll visit, one CHV will visit 10 households, just to try and do the basics. You know, they call them, just take the basics on and advice if there are issues on hypertension, on sugar levels, on all those, very early. So now, when we look at that one, that is going to help us identify our problems pretty early. The other issue we had was we have always had a challenge on human capital in terms of the provision of UHC. What are we talking about? How many nurses do we need? How many doctors do we need? I can tell you from where I sit, we still have a very huge gap. Nyeri County, which prides itself as doing very well, I think I hire last year alone, I hired about 343 medical personnel, which is pretty high. We are still operating at about 50%. 45 to 50% of expected. And this is the same, it is replicated in all counties, because the challenge is huge. You need to run a level 4 hospital, you need about 300 nurses. So we still have the gap in provision of human capital, and then equipment. Remember, we had something we were calling MES. That is a medical equipment scheme. That was, it did work somehow, but at a very exorbitant price. We think now, and this is, the president has promised that he is really looking at it, because as we stand here today, those machines that were procured 4 or 5 years ago have all run down.
Do you think that was the genesis of the problem, that handling of the procurement process for this? Because you mentioned correctly, Nyeri is part of those, was it 4 or 5 pilot counties for the UHC, meaning that there are some resources that must have come your way rolling it out. When you speak of the challenges today, it means that something did not go...
It didn't go out, it didn't work out well, because we ended up now with... machines that are obsolete, equipment that we have that is not working. Today, as we stand, even those contracts, the way they were signed, were not really, they weren't value for money. Okay. Now that the president has promised to relook at it, we have advised, as we sat together, that we would prefer a placement kind of, where you own the machines, you come, place them, provide services, take your share, and we carry on. So that, why do we need to invest in those machines? Remember, CT scans and all those kind of machines have a very short life because of the advancement of technology. And what was working yesterday will not work tomorrow. So that is also another challenge. The final challenge, which we really must address, is commodities. Are we able, KEMSA, for example, today the fuel rate, whenever I make, Nyeri County buys drugs worth about 450 million every year. But every time I place an order to KEMSA, where we are advised to go and buy because of economies of scale and maybe guaranteed quality, or something like that, you realize that you are getting about 45 to 48% fill rate. This is too low, because you order drugs worth 1 million, 100 million, you get only 40 million. What about the gap? So this is also another challenge that Kenya must address. And once we have addressed those 4 issues, then we will be able to progress. Finally, look at NHIF. NHIF, for a reason, 80% of all its money used to go to private hospitals. Why? Because private hospitals either have better services as opposed to public facilities, yet the doctors that work in the private facilities are all employed by government. They are the majority, they own those hospitals. In Nyeri, for example, some of my doctors own Jamii Nursing Home. As an example,
still work in the...
but they still work. The law, they negotiated, we call it a CBA that allows that. Okay. So really, what you realize is that we must up our game. We must ensure that a hospital like Nyeri County Referral Hospital is able to offer all services and even better services than its competitors within and around.
Okay. Yeah. You mentioned the challenge of late disbursement of resources from Treasury, and that would definitely impact on how you handle your staff.
True.
There have been complaints of delayed salaries, delayed allowances, even for intern doctors who I think you employed only last month. They've been here for about a month or 2. How are you managing that and ensuring that the staff and the human resource is intact?
That calls for really juggling of the highest order. Many counties are not able. Right now, as we are speaking, many counties are 3 months in arrears. They have not paid salaries.
Even for health workers?
Even for health workers, because the money is not there. But those counties, I'll give examples of counties like Nakuru, Mombasa, Nairobi, and Eldoret, and a county like Nyeri, even Kiambu, who are able to raise their own revenue. Like Nyeri last year, I was able to raise about 1.4 billion. That one has helped me. I am not in arrears. Right now, as I speak, I have paid all salaries. But that is because the county has its own source revenue of about 1.4 billion, which is enough to run almost 4 months, Other counties have engaged with banks, but this is very expensive because the bank pays the salaries for you, but at a cost. So all these are coming because I think we sometimes get our priorities wrong. Okay, we all agree there is a big challenge. We may not be raising enough cash through our finance bills and all that. But this is a reality. Kenyans chose devolution.
And it is expensive.
And it is expensive. So we have to do it. We have to. And I must say this. Devolution really has been a game changer for many parts of this country. People in Wajir saw tarmac for the first time when there was devolution. You should go to Mandera and see what Governor Robert did. When he was, for the 10 years he was governor, what he was able to achieve had never been achieved before. If you go to Wajir too, where Governor Ahmed is, and you observe what he was able to do in his first term before he was kicked out, and then has come back and is struggling to try and, pick up the pieces, devolution works.
Okay. You talked about on-source revenue, and that
Yes.
has been a big discussion point over the last few weeks. In fact, one of the dailies earlier this week had listed about the 15 counties that had really upped their game in as far as on-source revenue is concerned. You were not among the...
No, I was among. I was number 8.
Oh, okay. And one wonders, between 2022 and now, what changed? Some of you were there before 2022. What has changed in the game? Because we could see some moving from 300 million shillings to 1.3 billion.
I will tell you this. I took over Nyeri. When I took over Nyeri, we were raising 600 million. Today we are raising 1.4.
More than double that.
More than double that. That says one thing, confidence. If the people have confidence in you, they will start paying without unnecessarily pushing and pulling. They will pay because they can see the results of what you are. If they pay, they give you, they see the money they have paid, they can see services, they will pay. Number 2, there are elements of theft. Maybe, and I'll give something like Governor Wanga. I think Governor Wanga, we must give her credit for, there must have been some, because you can't move from 300 to 1 point something in a year. It's a miracle. But that would tell you that, number 1, there was laxity in collection. There might have been theft around, maybe she has implemented cashless systems. I'm not aware, but those are some of the things she might have done. But the truth of the matter is that on-source revenue is a very delicate balance, because you are saying you are collecting taxes from Wananchi, national government is collecting taxes from the same Wananchi. If you are not very, very careful, you can raise the revenue and it will send you home. We have an example of Laikipia, where Governor Mureithi did a wonderful job, and in fact, he is a consultant for Gladys Wanga today. He was able to raise the OSR of Laikipia, I think from almost 200 to 700, but he lost the election. So it's usually, you must look for a delicate balance where you will collect the money, spend it wisely without necessarily, and I'll give you an example of what we have done in Nyeri. In Nyeri, we always want to spread the tax base. And instead of collecting, levying so high on people, we levy low but spread it. Get my point. For example, in our rating system, where you collect rates and rents on land, the standard is to collect about 0.75% of a value of a product, of land, or of a building or whatever. We decided to bring it down to 0.1. And what would that mean? In a certain area where you are supposed to pay 45,000 a year for a 1 acre piece of land that is in the, on lease, it is brought down to 15,000. And somebody walks comfortably, pays the 15, because you can now see, he knows that the 15 will provide him with lighting, will do the roads, will do that, but 45 looks a little bit punitive. So that we must also agree that some of the counties are just struggling, when you look at Wajir now, where do when I share with my governor there, with the governor there, vice chair, you hear he has very few, streams. Because even if they are markets, they are not as vibrant You know, if you look at Nyeri, every center has a market, and you can collect 10 shillings from a Mamboga there. You know, so this look at Nairobi. Nairobi is collecting almost 30 billion because they have, you know, so that is, OSR is a challenge, but it's the only way to go, because we must work and ensure that counties can raise their own resource revenue to plug in the gaps that come when we do not have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because there's a lot of politics as well. And let's focus on the intra-county politics, the politics within the county itself. One, there's a position of deputy governors that has become quite a problem across most counties, most governors. I don't know how you relate with yours. Interestingly, he or she is not, he is not that out there. Secondly, there's the issue of the county assemblies.
Yeah.
And we've seen what has happened in Meru.
Yeah.
We've seen what has happened elsewhere. And the clamor for the county or the ward development fund. How are you handling that to the members of your county assembly? Have you managed to get a working relationship with them? Even as you tell us more about your deputy governor and how you're working.
Well, number one, my deputy governor, right now he's on leave. He's been away for the last 2 weeks because he needed to take a break. I am happy. I had a very tumultuous first term with my former governor, my former deputy governor, who I had handpicked, and it didn't turn out well. You may know her, Caroline Karogo. And that taught us a number of things. When we came in with David Kenanire, it's been a very smooth running. He's a reasonable, wonderful old man. He's good, he works, you know, until, and that is the way it should be, because he himself says it. He knows his position as a deputy governor. But I have done everything I can for him to make sure he's comfortable, and he has power.
Does he have specific roles? That
Yes, he does. He has specific roles. Yeah, very specific.
You've assigned him some
specific. Yeah, he's the one who runs with the OSR, for example. It is him who runs with this and has been able to raise that 1.4 million. You know, yeah, oh yeah, it's him who runs that program. He is into cooperatives, you know, so he is available and he is there.
Right.
Now, on the other issue you asked on
county assemblies.
County assemblies, yes, Nyeri has never had. We had a very rough time with the first governor and the first assembly, but when I took over, we have forged a very nice working relationship. And I asked myself this question. Now, indeed, the Constitution is so clear. The role of an MCA is three-pronged: legislation, representation, and oversight. But ask yourself, these are politicians. They need to go back to the village and tell people, I have done this for you. If you went back to your village and told the people, I have done legislation, I have oversighted the governor, I have done this, they would send you home in the morning. And so we sat down with my team and I asked them, look here, guys, let's agree. I am going to share part of my development with you. And how am I going to do it? I'm going to allocate every ward a specific amount of money. For example, we say 30 million per ward. I have 30 wards, that's 900 million. But I usually do about 2.5 billion in development. So I set aside 900, and every of my wards gets 30 million. And the MCA has a small committee. They sit down and prioritize. And they tell me, we want 2 ECD classrooms, we want a dispensary, we want to do lights from that amount of money. Now, once you have done that and you have brought us your selected projects, we pick the projects and do them, because the law now allows us to do them. But you also help us oversight, because you are the one who...
But Governor, there are those who argue that that kind of approach defeats the point that the Constitution dictates, that the role of the MCA is very clear: oversight, legislation, and representation. And the fact that it's the same argument with the CDF, that the MCA or the Member of Parliament should not directly be involved with the development matters of the nation or counties, apart from oversight, legislation, and representation. Don't you think that governors who have done what you have done are really just going
No,
round?
believe you me, that is now semantics. Let me ask this question. If an MCA comes to me and tells me, Governor, in a certain place, I need a road done. Do that road for me. Please put up these street lights. This is what that community wants. What's the difference with me telling him, now I've given you an allocation. I want you to go back home with your team. A team we put up together. My ward administrator is there. Come up with, for this ward, our priorities are this. You just bring us your priorities, but you have a cap that it can't go beyond 20 million. This year they are doing 21. It will not go beyond 21. So around that, you bring me the list of these are my projects. I will look at them and I will tell you we are not able to do a dispensary because a dispensary has a number of overliers. There is the human personnel, there is, so we will not go in that kind of direction. But can you do this? You will do, oh yes, we shall do the bridge. What mistake have we done? Isn't that representation?
Are we not changing the way devolution was meant to work? Even the budget-making process of the county assembly and the county government, where public participation and those forums where people come and decide this is what we want, this is what should go into the budget through the county assembly, then executed by the county government. Are we not changing that? And probably, is that the direction we should take? That probably the structure prescribed by the Constitution did not work very well. That this new way of giving each ward a certain amount,
let me ask this. Supposing, I have 2.5 billion to do development. I sit down as the executive and split that money into wards and implement it. What's the difference? You see, isn't this a representative of the people who goes back to the people? We have already, remember, when I took over government, in the first year, I did a CIDP. 5-year development plan. Every year I do an ADP. All those are public participation. They go through public participation. So this MCA must pick projects that are from the ADP and from the CIDP with his people and then just presents them to us. And he takes pride in that. He can go back and say, this is what we have done after you people told me to do it. Let me ask this. If it is working, and that is why one of the challenges we have in Meru, would you rather we followed the Constitution and had the Meru scenario, or would we have tweaked it a little and moved in the direction?
We not created a way where county assemblies are holding governors and county governors at ransom.
No, they don't.
And unless you do this, we'll take you out.
Let me tell you. Okay, fine. Let's put it this way. They do not tell me it is me who tells them what I want to do this year for them. And if you ask me, the Constitution was made by people, for the people, and we are the same people who are now saying, I think, right now as we are speaking, I'm an advocate that the county assemblies must have their own independent budgets, as far as I'm concerned, so that they have their own. What happens today, the money is brought to the county and they have an allocation, which they have to get through the minister, my CEC. Now I want them to have their own money, run that whatever they can, and do it well. Now, if it's working, and this is what I ask yourself, if you're going to have 44 MCAs running around, all they can do is you are the Constitution. And if you ask me, whoever set up that Constitution was just about segregation of power, so that powers.
For a reason.
Yeah, for powers, and this is why. Remember what we said in the beginning. National government is still patronizing counties. It's about power. Today, the president and the governors are competing over who is doing a lot. Look at, for example, something like trade. In markets are fully devolved function. But the national government is doing them in collaboration with MPs. Then they hand them over to counties to run them. Look at that.
That confusion, don't you think that confusion breeds a lot of
yes, it does.
as well?
It does. What should happen is If you're not careful, yes, I know the MCAs can go overboard. They can go overboard like they have done in a number of counties. They have not even, they have just desecrated an entire budget, you know, yet the law allows them only 1%, that you can only tweak 1% of an entire budget. But my thinking is this, if counties must run, as we grow and as we mature as a country, we must look for ways of and means of ensuring that we help all elected leaders fulfill their promises to the electorate. Okay. Nobody goes out to say, mimi mukinichagua, nitatengenezea nyinyi sheria nzuri. Nobody says that in their campaigns, remember. Even the MPs, you have never had an MP say, hey, what I got to... They always say, I'll make sure I bring development. And so I think we need to start thinking along that kind of way. Let us look for ways and means where there is no compromise. We also should not devolve corruption, you know, because that's the way it should be.
All right. Let's now talk about development, both at the county and the national level, and the link between them. The president was in Nyeri the other day. There's a lot of noise about why the deputy president wasn't there, but I leave that for now. He came for a church event, and I was going through your Facebook post where you posted welcoming the president and going to church with him, and most of the comments were, when he comes to this region, he comes to church. When he goes elsewhere, he takes projects and launches projects. Why does he do that here? And they were asking for two things. One, and they were saying, Governor, please ask the president about the Ringo Stadium and the Mau Mau roads, those two. Do you agree with them that probably the national government has not balanced its spread of national projects at the county level? That some people may be right to feel that they have been neglected a bit in as far as national government projects are concerned?
Walk back to history and you see that, yes, what you are saying is true. Why do people go for, why do we have political competitions? It's to get power and do what with that power? That use the power to direct resources. And that is why everybody wants their people to be in government. That's broadly the reason why we have competition for power. Now, anyone who votes for an individual votes for that individual with expectation that this individual will, number one, make my life better, but he will also make sure that my vote counts. I personally did ask the president about Rorengo Stadium, because Rorengo Stadium has become an eyesore. It is something that, it is a project that has run over the life of Uhuru as president. It has rolled over into now President William Ruto. And we did agree with him that Rorengo has to be redone, because what was done was a shoddy job. First and foremost, very poor quality tartan was put. It's all broken up. It's useless. The works were done poorly, yet almost 300 million has been put into that stadium. So that is a big miss. It's a big problem. And yes, I did ask him, and he did say it will be done. Mau Mau roads. Mau Mau roads, yes, the MPs did ask. And true, the president said I think he has managed to get some little money. I think in his last journey to safari to China, he was able to get some little money, which I think is going to be put into those roads to complete them. So why would people think that the president just... I don't want to believe that, because every time the president has come to Nyeri, he has made promises. Mm-hmm. He's been asked and he's answered. I have seen MPs have asked. I personally have asked. I remember when I did put up a hospital in Narumoro, a level 4 hospital. I did engage with President Kenyatta, and I told him, now I have the level 4 hospital is done, but I need equipment, and he promised to give me about 250 million worth equipment. Some of it was delivered, some was not. And when I told President William Ruto, I have seen progress. Mm-hmm. Odhaya Hospital, the Mwai Kibaki, level 6, is not yet a level 6 in terms of its capacity, because there are still equipment that has not been delivered, which the president promised to deliver and give us. So yes, I think our people just also think, one of the challenges we have with our president is that he overpromised. During his campaigns, the UDA brigade, we did make too many lofty promises without knowing that the situation was not ideal.
Okay.
And you can see for the last 2 years, he's been struggling with debt and very many other things. So, and the people were so expectant. Remember, this was the first president who visited every county to do county forums where the counties, a selected group of people, cooperators, border sat down and said, this is what we want. And he did sign a charter with them in every county. So the expectations were so high. And give it to him, he has struggled in his own way to do what he can. Sometimes I think he made his bed. That's why we are challenging.
So the people of Nyeri are correct in feeling disillusioned to a large extent in as far as the promises that were made and what has been delivered.
Yes, you can say that. You can say that. Agreed, yes, that the expectations were too high. But reality struck when we got into office and realized, I think, but he's struggling. The president is doing his best. You ask me. I don't pity. I would not want to be in his shoes, really.
What about the deputy president? And let's now come to that conversation.
Yes.
Tumeambiwa tusiguze mlima.
Yeah.
Yeah. Siasa imechacha. Now we're getting to a point, it's become drama, it's become even more interesting than some of the TV soap operas that we watch. You are a key figure in this debate.
Why? How?
You've been very vocal
yes.
in the defense of the deputy president, and rightly so. You've said it yourself. You will defend him when you feel that people are going against him. And one wonders, because Parliament returned this week, and there are rumors that an impeachment motion could be introduced. It's already been drafted. It's already within the halls of the National Assembly. This coming week, it's coming. According to the Star, this week, it said that the plans are that the deputy president may not have his flag by Christmas. That was on the front page of the Star this week. What do you say to that?
I say bring it on. I mean, I have no votes. I'm a governor. I am not in Parliament. But I would want to say this. This mountain will be watching. We will be watching. And for every action, there will be a reaction. Let it be so clear. You cannot do that to our son and still expect that we will be there towing around anybody. No. There must be a reaction for every action. And therefore, if indeed there are reasons to impeach the deputy president, it will be they will be brought on the floor of the House, and they will convince the members of Parliament to impeach him. So be it. But the point here should be, and I think I need to say this from where I sit, this will be individual responsibility.
What do you mean individual responsibility?
Individual, it will be. We will not vote as a group. You will vote as an individual. If you vote for something we think is not, because the deputy president has done nothing in my own assessment. Well, impeachments these days have become they are political, pawn games that are being played. You saw what Kawira was being impeached for. Just because somebody doesn't like you, they can think they can do that. But I will say this: if the threshold for impeachment must be reached,
whether successful or not.
Yes.
An impeachment against the deputy president, or an attempted impeachment against the deputy president, will have implications for your political leanings going forward.
Yes.
Whether or not it's successful.
Yes.
What is the future of the deputy president?
The future of the
at all, it actually makes it.
If you were to ask me, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, is not where he was when we elected him. When we elected him, he was a nobody. He was unknown. Today, we are behind him except for 48 members of parliament. Yeah, everybody else. And I can speak with confidence because I live in Nyeri and I reach out. We are behind the deputy president to a man. But of course, you can always subtract the 48. We went to Nyaururu. But the rest of us are behind that man. And why are we behind that man? We feel that, number one, he is being vilified unjustifiably. He's being accused of things that don't exist. And in politics, you are not meant to love each other. I have said it 1,000 times. Politics is never a love affair. It's about serving interests. And he himself did his best. That man suffered. He was put in the cells for this government. He worked himself to the bone, spent his resources to ensure we had the Kenya Kwanza government in office. If indeed after all that, remember, we had our kingpin called Uhuru Kenyatta, who warned us and told us don't go in that direction. But ourselves, we decided, because there was betrayal, and the current president had been betrayed, according to us, because kumi yangu, kumi yako. We decided to not join that, that kind of cabal of people who are, meant to frustrate this man. And we did give him the vote. Now, if this is how he repays us, during his time and tribulations, I personally had asked the President Uhuru Kenyatta, in the presence of other governors, Your Excellency, please tell us, what is it that William Ruto has done that has hurt you so badly, so that we understand and we are able to explain to our people. The president told us, nitawambia bado. He left office without kutuambia. Now we are also telling President William Ruto, if you can look us in the face and tell us, Rigathi Gachagua has done the following, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, as you tell us the things he has done, also on the other hand, tell us, Raila Amolo Odinga had done the following to me. But now, Raila is my buddy, this is going to be my enemy. Because really, this is politics. And if, for a reason, President William Ruto doesn't want to complicate his politics, he needs to know that the mountain is still a sure bet for him. The mountain, even as I listen to it, has not moved that far that it cannot be brought back.
By President William.
By President William. They have a lot of faith in him. Sincerely, they still believe that he is the man who can do things for them. But that small matter of the deputy president.
Do you see a way back for the deputy president to get back into the fold of the president, now that you see what played out last weekend, where the president came to Nyeri, you were present there to receive him, yet during that event, what played out was an empty seat?
No, allow me to explain to you. Mm-hmm. The president is the cause of that empty seat. Because I was called the night before by the deputy president, by Mase Wanjau. She told me, Governor, we are coming there tomorrow. But as we come there, we shall pass Kirinyaga. Mm-hmm. I asked, you and whom? Myself, the president, and the deputy president. The deputy president told me, we will be going with the president to Kirinyaga.
Okay.
And then come to Nyeri. So I was ready. Only for me to see the president not go to Kirinyaga, but went to a church in Outer Ring in the morning. Rigathi Gachagua had already gone to Kirinyaga.
To wait for the president.
To wait for the president. And he was there waiting for the president. Now it's happened that the mass he was attending is a Catholic mass. You don't interrupt Catholic masses. And he went to the, I think, Restoration Church, finished, flew to Nyeri, came and ran with this one. And even as we were sitting, I remember him asking me, isn't Rigathi Gachagua coming? I told him, Your Excellency, he was waiting for you in Kirinyaga. And he told me, oh my God, it happened that in the morning, nilibadilisha kidogo. So really, it's only that people are reading too much. Let me tell you this. If there is a man I know who respects his president, it is Rigathi Gachagua.
Okay.
Rigathi Gachagua has a background of a uniformed officer. Wale wamekuwa trained kupiga salute. And they salute and then ask questions. That is his nature. Many times we would tell him, if you remember in the early years of this government, Rigathi Gachagua was the defender of this government, going to levels, and we would ask him. He said, no, I must protect my boss. Now see where we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
But listening to the kind of rhetoric that happens right in front of the president, and you say you've been able to talk to both leaders. You talked to the deputy president and the president in recent weeks. Do you see a chance of them ever getting back?
Yes, this is politics. Yeah, in politics, nothing is personal. Let me tell you.
Yet, if you listen to the people around the president, and I'll pick a name, Kimani Ichung'wah, the leader of majority, the kind of rhetoric he runs with, one would think it's as good as done.
No. Kimani Ichung'wah is only suffering the problem of power. You know, they say power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. If you look at Kimani Ichung'wah, they were buddies with Rigathi. Do you know he's married in Rigathi's area here in Madeira? They have had rapport. But right now, they are each protecting their turf. Kimani Ichung'wah is in a privileged position because he is the leader of majority, has close proximity to the president, and of course that comes with his sister-in-law being made an ambassador, his cousin being made this and that. You know, they are so... Now, he's protecting that turf, and he wouldn't want anyone to come closer and mess it up. You even saw himself these days, he talks to the president with his hands in his pockets. You know, it tells you that it's power that has just gotten into him, and somewhere along the line, just remind him that a balloon with a little pin just gets deflated. He needs to know that there have been others before him. Their fate is written all over books. Let him be careful with that power, knowing that that is not really his power. It is power that has been delegated from some other place. And especially when you're in a position where somebody appointed you, you are only majority leader courtesy of William Ruto. Not that the people love you. You are just... So once he understands all those things, the deputy president is there. Let them work together. Let them not just kill each other. But one of the things I fault the president is that surely he told us publicly he will never allow what he went through to happen to his own deputy.
Yes.
Now we see in a church service, which is sacred, he is seated there. The president is almost smiling and clapping as Kimani Ichung'wah calls another leader a viper. I mean, what are you telling us? What are you telling us, even as leaders? Are you telling us that is what you want your children to see? You know, is that what you really want us to see? And is that the culture you want?
So you do blame the president as well for failing to rein in those...
Of course, it is him. If he called everyone to order today, if President William Ruto just said, Kahiga nyamaza, everybody nyamaza, we will be... Kila mtu atanyamaza, and nobody will talk. We will then toe the line. We are all in UDA and Kenya Kwanza, so that we can deliver. I have said this, we have only 3 years to go, and the president is facing a re-election. Why don't we work hard now? Forget all these shenanigans. Focus on why we were elected and go there.
All the elected leaders, apart from you, of course, was in State House on Wednesday this week.
Yes, I also had an invite.
Why did you not attend?
I thought I didn't want to go because I had communicated that I wanted to sit with the president myself.
Alone.
Maybe have a talk with him before we can now have with my colleagues, MP and the senator and everybody else. And considering, we have two different, they will go and discuss their matters along their way, their CDF and what have you, and what national government can do. Me as a county, I have my own, So I thought, let them have their meeting. I will still.
Are you getting the feeling that probably, in as far as support for Rigathi Gachagua from all elected leaders in Nyeri, that you're coming out as the Lone Ranger, that everyone else is allied to the president when it comes to the defense of the deputy president? You're the lone voice. All elected leaders, including the senator of Nyeri, is quiet.
Maybe I will tell you this. I respect the president very much. In fact, I really love President William Ruto as a person. I may differ with the way he is treating the deputy president, but I have never shied away from speaking my mind. And I tell him what I think is not right, because he himself, I was with them in the campaigns. He told us that this will never happen. Why is it happening? I have asked him, tell us what Rigathi Gachagua has done so that we can then see. The other day they started saying, oh, Rigathi Gachagua is demanding 10 billion from the president, 10 billion to do what? That's a cock and bull. The whole idea is that, sometimes before a hyena eats its own kids, it accuses it of smelling like a goat. You give it a bad name so that you can kill it. That's not the way to go. What they need to do is just let Rigathi Gachagua. Okay, Rigathi Gachagua, because of his background as a district officer, has grown up through the administration province. You could see him as a bully in terms of when he wants to push something. But he's genuinely a very good man. I may differ with him on many things, but I'll fight for him because when I feel there is an injustice being done against him. The same way we died with President William Ruto. Yeah.
What would you say to those salivating for the position of deputy president currently, or the position of running mate for William Ruto come 2027?
Well, they have a right. In the book of Habakkuk, chapter number 3, verses 2, it says, write your vision in bold letters. Let them write their vision. It's okay. I mean, I have always said, and quote me, even when the issue of Dede Njoro was brought up, I said, we cannot fight Dede Njoro. He's a young leader who is growing. And there is nothing wrong with him having an ambition. It's only that his time is not yet come. I would say the same for Professor Kindiki. He's a good man. He's a professor. He did a sterling job as majority leader in the Senate before he was kicked out by President Uhuru for no reason. But we are saying it is not yet his time. He's a good leader, but he needs to be mentored and walk into his destiny. We shouldn't fight him.
Would you support him if he was picked for running mate come 2027?
Now, it's still too early.
What about 2027? If at all President William Ruto picked...
If we get to 2027 and the President William Ruto feels that Rigathi cannot deliver for him, because you will definitely pick a running mate who can deliver for you. Because translated into votes, it's not, you don't want to bring a flower girl. I will ask you a simple question. This mountain, will it follow Rigathi Gachagua or will it follow anybody else? Has anyone cut an image this time that you think this mountain will follow? Listening to the ground, Professor Kindiki is a leader of the future. And we should not destroy him now. We should build him. We should work around making him strong and let him grow. And I will never, even those MPs who are now being used and that, they are leaders of the future. Let us build. We had a big problem as a mountain when Uhuru Kenyatta just disappeared from the scene and left us groping in the darkness. Because every new leader who came up had been suppressed. Let's not do that. Let's allow the leadership that is coming. As they grow up, look at Dede Njoro. He has done a good job as an MP. He only needs to build his image as we look into him as our future. Tomorrow, the next day, there is 2027, 2032. These are coming, and we will need such leaders in this mountain, and I'll be the first to defend them, all of them.
Okay.
Including Professor Kithure Kindiki.
But just not now.
I am saying time and season belong to God. Yeah, but he is a good leader. He, for the future, looking maybe not now, maybe in the next election or something moving, let him. But now, if he's going to get into leadership through that process of impeachment, I don't think he's going to build his character.
So what you're saying is for President William Ruto to guarantee himself the support of the mountain, he needs to stick with Rigathi Gachagua through 2027.
Agreed.
No other way.
Agreed. You know, I lived in this mountain, and I have said it many times. I am a villager. I listen to the villagers. And when I listen to them, they are saying in very no uncertain terms, that's our man, and nobody should touch him. And we are right behind him. And you know what has happened? We have made Rigathi Gachagua a victim by what we are doing to him. So my community, so I tell you, because this is my community, hates betrayal. And we learned our lessons during the fight for independence. The people who betrayed the community, they were held with a lot of disdain. And what happens is when President William Ruto, when he was deputy president, we recognize the fact that he had supported Uhuru Kenyatta to become president. But when, for his own reasons, President Kenyatta didn't like him because of what we can now see. But he didn't explain to us. He really just turned but we as a community said, no, we cannot allow this. We do not repay evil with evil.
Okay.
We repay good with good. He has done us something good. We are going to stand with him. Remember, we broke the barriers. It used to be said that a Kikuyu cannot vote for any other community, isn't it? We did vote for him. The least he can do is just take care of our son.
Okay.
And this, let me also say this community, the mountain community, has never had two leaders at the same time. But when they set up for one, it's one leader. They will die with that leader, move with him. There can be very many others. We have a slogan in our community where we say that there can never be two rams in the same pen. Mm-hmm. It must be one.
You say also, Murima, Mutwasiguze Mlima.
Yeah.
But it would appear that the mountain has been touched to some extent, split, maybe not right in the middle, but a section is looking to distance itself, and that's Mount Kenya East. The leadership there has come out and said, we are looking separately in a different direction. Those from the Mount Kenya West do not necessarily fight for what we want ourselves. And one may wonder, is that enough to split the mountain?
Indimuli, can I tell you something? Even as you speak, there is already a traditional cultural barrier right there. Let me tell you, we have, do you know anything about the Meru? We have the Meru and we have the Tharaka Nithi. Do you know that the Meru and the Tharaka don't agree? They don't agree. It's an unwritten split. They can never, and the Meru can never be led by the Tharaka. That is it. So when you see all those small, those are just that's drama. That's really drama. They are just, you even saw. Did you see MCS in Muranga being called to Muranga here, who went there and said, no, we didn't come here for these things. Nobody told us we had, all these are things. And what my pain is that they are going to destroy Professor. A good leader, because of those small things they are trying to do, instead of letting him naturally grow, because he is headed in that direction, they are going to mess him up by doing those shenanigans. They should let him grow, let him grasp his area, the people, and those. Let me tell you this. The other day we saw a hype around Dede Nyoro.
Yes.
Then what has happened now?
And I've actually...
what has happened now?
With regard to that, I was looking for this cartoon on the on the Standard,
yes,
which has Ndindi Nyoro,
yeah,
and him making a U-turn.
Exactly.
On his way to 2027, he's turned back and he's going back to Karo.
Can I tell you why? It's the heat in the mountain. It's the heat in the mountain. We do not take betrayal easily. We don't take it lying down.
Right.
And once we, if you are associated, I can tell you, if you are associated with a fight against our son, believe you me, no matter who you are, I don't know why people don't, I tell the truth because I live here with these people.
Yes.
And it will take them a lot of, I don't know whether it is the resources or what, or whether it's to come back to the community and plead. But anyone fighting that man in his own little way, believe you me, it will not be easy.
Governor Mwalimu Kahiga, asante sana for your time at TV47. And as a rallying call, what would you tell the people of Nyeri as we end the show? And by extension, the people of Kenya and people of Murima?
Maybe what I would want to say is to number one to the people of Nyeri. You are my pride. The people of Nyeri. If you ask me, what can you say about Nyeri? I say, I am proud of the people of Nyeri. Why do I say that? This is a community that is resilient. These are people who give them an inch and they will take a foot. I have seen them do wonderful, great things. I remember when I took over office, I introduced avocado. And I gave avocados to the people of Nyeri. Gave them just a few, 5 per family. Today, this county is leading in production of avocado because they simply move. They are now selling in Teto here, 1 avocado at 24 shillings. That is the resilient spirit of the people of Nyeri. These people of Nyeri, they are hard workers. They don't believe in handouts. They are a people that I am proud of. And now today, as I speak to you, I want to thank you for your confidence in me, in my giving me the opportunity to lead you and walking this journey with me. I will also tell you and remind you to stand behind our son, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Listen to him, pray for him, even as he goes through all the tribulations. We have seen worse, but we always come out as victors. We'll be able to rise from the ashes once again. It's not over until it's over.
Na wasiguze mlima.
Do not touch the mountain. Take care of us. Usiguze mlima. And for the people of Kenya, I think I must say this, that we have a duty and a responsibility to demand accountability from our government, both at county level and at national level. As we stand here, we have a president in office. That is President William Ruto. He has 3 years to go. It is my prayer that we shall support him so that he delivers on his mandate. And then in 2027, we are able to judge him correctly. But if we do not allow him room to work, if we are going to continue now politicking for the next 3 years, then it will be a very, very unfair competition come 2027. And therefore, I want to urge all of us to stand together as we support this government so that they can deliver to us the 3 years remaining. There have been lofty promises. But really, if we continue in this kind of very bad, very, very, an environment that is totally unfit for working, I don't believe we will be able to get the very best. Otherwise, I want to wish all of you well. We are speaking from the mountain. This is the treetops. It is now open. It's an operational hotel. It's a history. This is where the queen came in as a prince and came down as a queen. Her bed is right here. I think it's number 312. And you can always come and spend your time here. As you sit behind me here, you'll be able to watch elephants. I do not know whether you have ever had breakfast as elephants watch you. Thank you. Karibu Nyeri.
All right. Kweli sana. I can vouch for that. Yes, it's a beautiful place, a very nice scenery behind here. And the mountain that we're talking about is right behind us. It's only that you cannot see because of the fog. Thank you so much, Governor Mwalimu Kahiga, Governor of the great county of Nyeri, county number 019. And a man who also makes it to the front pages today on the People Daily about his ambitions of becoming chairperson of the County of Governors. Thank you so much for your time here at TV47. You're watching Morning Cafe. It is a feel-good Friday, so do stand by for a lot more from here, the Treetops Lodge, right inside Aberdares National Park.